Everyone, my friend Michael had a great question, which is there anything that would make me question my thesis and my all in on Bitcoin? Well, first of all, I'm not all in. I'm 99% in. I still have 1% in stocks, bonds, and US dollar cash, just in case I need to pay for a tuition payment for Rachel grad school or my daughter's going to college or whatever. If I needed to make an emergency payment and Bitcoin was down that day, I still have a 1% reserve that is not in Bitcoin so that I can do that and I'm not stuck liquidating Bitcoin when it's down for like a day. I'm 99% in. 99% of my liquid assets are in Bitcoin. Okay, so if I seem unfazed, first of all, I am unfazed with regard to my own finances. I've just been in Bitcoin since 2017. So after 8 years, I'm not at all worried about my own finances. I just, so what? The news doesn't faze me almost at all. It's not zero, but it's almost zero. Now, obviously, I feel stressed for other people because, not everybody's been in Bitcoin as long as I have. And when other people feel stressed because Bitcoin's down for the day or the week, I feel that stress with them because I care about people. And, nobody wants, other people to feel stress. That's just, the nature of humanity. But as far as the what sort of news headlines that would make me question my 99% conviction. So the answer is it would have to be something related to Bitcoin itself and the fundamentals of Bitcoin's ability to solve the problem of money. And there's never been a news story that has fundamentally undermined that. Certainly not since the very early days of Bitcoin when everybody was tinkering with the code. Let me give you some examples. So what everybody focuses on with regard to news stories and what's driving the current news stories is, are there going to be tariffs, which has nothing to do with Bitcoin? Is there going to be a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which has nothing to do with the long-term adoption of Bitcoin? It's just like, so what? It might take slightly longer for all the Bitcoin to get bid up to $1 million a coin. So what? I'd rather have it take longer and that Bitcoin be in the hands of average people than shorter and that Bitcoin be in the hands of government. So that's fine with me. Um, and so all the other things. So here's what I look at. What I look at is are humans going to keep using money? Meaning, are we going to go back to barter where we're trading a cow for eggs and, a shanty shack and all that sort of stuff? And the answer is no, we're not going back to barter. Humanity will absolutely use money the thing we use to exchange. We go to work, we get money, then we use the money to go buy groceries. That's how the economy is going to work for, hundreds of years, thousands of years into the future. Okay. Are governments going to stop printing money out of thin air? No, they are not. After 8 years in the House of Representatives and much longer than that, studying governments, governing economic systems, the interplay of incentives and governing systems, governments are not going to stop printing money. Not going to happen. You cannot give a sinful, fallen human a magic money printer and expect them not to use it. They will absolutely positively use it. Maybe they'll exercise some restraint for a series of weeks or months, maybe even a year or two, but they will always go back to printing money when they can go back to printing money. Always. Okay, so we are going to use money in the economy, and governments are never going to stop printing it. Okay, so then the question is Bitcoin better money? Well, that goes down to the fundamental what makes a good money. A good money is divisible, durable, portable, verifiable, authenticatable, fungible, meaning all the units are the same. You go through all the criteria of money, which there's most people cite about 5 criteria of money. Although if you look at broader lists, you get up to about maybe 8 criteria of what makes a good money. And the question is Bitcoin still the best money that has ever been discovered or invented in human history? And the answer is yes. So to me, the Bitcoin question really is as simple as, are we going to use money or go back to barter? We're going to use money. Our government's going to be responsible and resist the urge to print money? No. There's nothing in, the nature of humanity or in my experience with government that makes me think governments are just going to abruptly stop printing money. And they can't. They can't even stop printing money even if they wanted to because the government money printing has resulted in the entire economy being built on debt. And when you have an entire economy built on debt, as soon as you stop the money printing, all of the people that are in that debt, it all collapses. So you can inflate your way out of it and destroy your currency that way, but you can't stop printing money because it just triggers a domino effect of defaults. Basically, everybody goes bankrupt at the same time that owes anybody money. Well, that's not going to happen. They're not going to let that happen. They're always going to decide printing money is better than rampant, national and international cascades of bankruptcies. They're just never going to pick bankruptcy over printing money. That's just not what they're going to do. Okay, and Bitcoin is a better money than any money that's ever been invented. And that has been the case since the invention of Bitcoin more than 16 years ago. And that's been the case. So nothing would undermine that unless, again, you went to the fundamentals of money. If somehow I came to the conclusion that Bitcoin was not the best money that humans ever invented or discovered, or that something, that was not going to remain the case, then that would undermine my thesis in Bitcoin. But I have spent thousands of hours testing that thesis with reading thousands of hours of stuff about Bitcoin, hundreds of hours of stuff against Bitcoin. I've read every single book that's anti-Bitcoin, anti-crypto, anti-blockchain, anti-anything. I've read them all to try to figure out if anybody's got a logical, coherent reason that undermines my core thesis. So a good analogy here as you think about this is Amazon. Let me give you an analogy there. One second. Okay. So I have never owned Amazon stock other than, in broad stock portfolios of, whatever mutual funds or ETFs or whatever. But let's assume I was an Amazon investor back in 1999 and I was as committed to Amazon as Joel Baumgar, is committed to Bitcoin in 2025. So let's assume, just like I have 99% of my liquid assets in Bitcoin, let's assume I had 99% of my liquid assets in Amazon in 1999. All right, well, what happened between 1999 and 2002? Well, the answer is Amazon stock dropped by 94%. 94%. Amazon lost 94% of its value between 1999 and sort of the depths of the recovery from the dot-com boom, which was either 2001 or 2002. So if Amazon dropped 94%, I can see somebody asking me the same question, which is, hey, Joel, you seem unfazed. Amazon's down 94%. What would it take to shake your thesis? And the answer is, okay, let's talk about what is the core thesis of Amazon. Do we believe in 1999 that Jeff Bezos has what it takes to build the mega e-commerce company? The answer is yes. He's a great entrepreneur and obviously had what it took. Okay, second, are humans going to buy stuff online? And if the answer is yes, and you think Jeff Bezos is going to win that market, then it's like, okay, number one, the market's huge because everybody's going to buy everything online eventually, or most things. And number two, Jeff Bezos has what it takes to win with the vision and everything else. That's all you need to know in 1999 or in 2002. So if somebody came to you and said in 2002, why are you holding on to Amazon? Why don't you diversify? The stock is down 96% or 94%, 94%. Then my answer would be because I only need to know two things. One is that e-commerce is the future, and two, that Jeff Bezos is going to win. And if you know those two things, then the near-term stock price is irrelevant. Then a 94% stock market correction of Amazon in the dot-com bust, all that tells you is you should buy a lot more Amazon. Why wouldn't you buy a bunch more Amazon if your entire investment thesis is based on the fact that you think Jeff Bezos has what it takes to win the market, and you think that humans are going to buy most things online after a couple decades? Well, both those things ended up being true. So that is the way I look at it. And as far as other assets, whether it's gold or silver, I think silver is a horrible investment. Silver is completely demonetized by gold and is further demonetized by Bitcoin. So I would never buy silver. But between gold and real estate, both of them have problems. You can't take gold across, country borders in increments of more than 10,000. I still own a small amount of gold from 2017 when I bought some gold. I don't like it. Do I even know it's gold? I don't even know it's gold. How do I know that those gold coins don't have tungsten on the inside and they just have a gold leaf on the outside? I don't know. I can't verify my gold. I can't transact with my gold. Those coins are not divisible. Each gold coin is worth $3,000. What am I going to buy? I can only buy stuff that comes in increments of $3,000. That's crazy. You can't use gold as money. It doesn't work. And it hasn't worked historically. Otherwise, the U.S. would not have come off the gold standard. The only reason the U.S. came off the gold standard was gold did not work as money on as a transactional medium. So there had to be paper on top of it. And then obviously they printed way too much of the paper, which happens all the time. Every time you put something in place of gold that represents gold, whatever that thing is gets way more of it printed, and the value of, of the thing gets debased, meaning it doesn't represent the gold it used to because it's not actually backed by the gold it's supposedly backed by. So again, if your investment thesis is in Amazon, you only need to know whether you think Jeff Bezos can get it done and whether e-commerce is going to be a huge deal. And that's all you need to know between 1999 and 2002. Even if the stock price is down 94%, and obviously Bitcoin's not down 94%, it's down like, I don't know what, 20%, 27%, 30%, whatever it is since the all-time high. Whatever it is, it's down a percent that is not uncommon in Bitcoin world. It's a volatile asset because it has huge upside. You can't have an asset with huge upside unless it has volatility. There is no asset that has low volatility and huge upside. That asset does not exist anywhere in the world. So I do not want real estate. Real estate is subject to property taxes. It requires maintenance. You can't move it, and you don't really own it because as soon as you stop paying the government, it's not yours anymore. I do not like real estate as an asset class. Now, maybe if all the real estate was in a massive fire sale, maybe, but all the real estate's not in a massive fire sale. Most real estate, in my opinion, is still significantly overvalued. So I don't like real estate. I don't like gold because gold is going to be demonetized by Bitcoin. Bitcoin does what gold does categorically better in every facet. And so, therefore, eventually, it may take decades, but eventually, Bitcoin will completely demonetize gold, and gold will go back to its value in industrial or ornamental decorative uses. And Bitcoin or gold as money is going to go away because Bitcoin is better money. In the same way gold demonetized silver, Bitcoin will demonetize gold. And for all the reasons I've covered in a bunch of other videos, I don't think anything will demonetize Bitcoin. Again, unless there's like a complete catastrophic change in humanity where we just don't buy things anymore. Like the whole economy switches to a model where humans just, there's no scarcity, there's no concept of money, there's no economic exchange, which is ridiculous. I mean, that may exist in heaven one day when Jesus comes back. That doesn't exist on this earth. I believe as long as we live on this earth, scarcity will be a thing. And we will have to exchange to get food and shelter and clothing and everything we need. So my core thesis of Bitcoin is based on its fundamental monetary properties, and those are better than they've ever been. More people are adopting Bitcoin. The strength of the Bitcoin network, the security of the Bitcoin network, everything about Bitcoin is stronger today than it's ever been, with the exception of its price. And the price is the near-term measurement that is irrelevant in the long term. In the long term, Bitcoin's price will reflect its value, even if in the short term, it's volatile. It's all over the place. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is now is a fantastic time to buy Bitcoin. It is massively on sale. You can buy it from people who are scared. You can buy it from people who don't understand Bitcoin. You can buy it from people who don't even understand what they own. They own Bitcoin and they are selling it because they don't understand what it is. And you can buy it from them at a discount, like I did this morning. I bought, I don't know, somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000. I don't know what it was. It was somewhere between 5 and 6 figures more of Bitcoin. And I bought it because, Bitcoin was dangling right in front of my face below $90,000 a coin. And if you dangle Bitcoin in front of my face for less than $90,000 per coin for long enough, you're going to entice me to increase my Bitcoin uh, holdings. So that's what I did. I liquidated a bunch of not Bitcoin and what little I had. I liquidated two-thirds of what little I had and I turned it into Bitcoin. So anyway, those are not exact numbers. I'm using round numbers. But anyway, I don't know how much Bitcoin I bought this morning. It was somewhere, more than tens of thousands, but, less than hundreds of thousands. But anyway, so why am I 99% Bitcoin? Because that is my conviction around Bitcoin. And I do not have that conviction around real estate or gold or any other asset class because I think all of those things are not cheap right now. I think all of those other assets are massively inflated by incessant government money printing. And at some point, all of those asset prices will crash. And I think even if Bitcoin goes down in the near term, it will go way up in the long term. And I just don't have that conviction about real estate or gold or stocks or anything else. So I am buying Bitcoin because of its fundamental value as its fundamental monetary properties and the credibility of those monetary properties. And those are stronger today than they've ever been in history. And so my conviction today is higher than it's been in history. And therefore, I own more Bitcoin as of this morning than in history because I'm buying more Bitcoin. So, and I did, and I bought more Bitcoin. And so my Bitcoin holdings are the highest percent of my liquid net worth that they have ever been as of this morning. So anyway, that's my conviction, and that is my answer to the question of why do I not diversify, and why am I not investing in other things, and what would it take for news headlines to make me question my conviction and my thesis? And the answer is, in the case of Amazon back in 1999, it would have had to been a news story like Jeff Bezos has cancer, or a news story like, I don't know, something that fundamentally meant that the internet was never going to be a thing, which, was crazy. The internet was going to be a thing. And, only Paul Krugman, who's, notoriously wrong and basically an economic idiot, thought the internet was not a big deal back in 1998. And back in 1998, Paul Krugman said the internet would not be a big deal. Well, he was wrong. So anyway, I believe in the fundamentals of Bitcoin. I'm invested accordingly. And, near-term price dips are a buying opportunity. So I bought more. That's what happened today in my world. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.